What up, world? Welcome to an episode of I Bleed Sports. As you know, I am the host, Brandon Janeau, and like always on all podcast platforms everywhere, Brandon Janeau Show. Social media, Instagram threads, real Brandon Janeau Show. That's real. REAL Brandon Janeau Show. Um, Facebook, The Brandon Janeau Show, and of course, TikTok, Brandon Janeau Show. So go follow me on all those social media platforms. I would appreciate it if you did. Really, where you go though is the YouTube channel, man. Brandon Janeau Show YouTube channel, man. Subscribe, comment, like the vids, algorithm, man. I'm still right there, right there. 250 is right there. So yeah, like I said, today is Tuesday, so you already know what it is. It is I Bleed Sports. A lot of stuff going on. You got the NBA playoffs. You got uh, the NFL draft that happened last Thursday that I didn't get a chance to talk about. So I'll talk about that today. Um, yeah, uh, got a lot going on, but let's start it off with some good old fashioned boxing. David Benavidez, the Mexican monster, will be in action this Saturday. He will be boxing this Saturday, um, going up to 200 pounds and jumping dead in the middle of the cruiserweight division, which is one under the heavyweight division. He is going up and trying to basically become a unified champion in the division. This fight is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I can't say his opponent's name, uh, but I've seen him box, and he is technically sound for a big man, a cruiserweight of his stature. He is extremely sound. He can hit. He is one of the best, you know, fighters in said division. So to see this fight is going to be intriguing. David Benavidez has a chance to do something that I don't think a lot of people understand. I think when Bud was when Bud Crawford was dominating, he started at the lightweight, then he moved up to welter, and then middle. When you look at how David Benavidez has been moving, he started, I think, in middle, then he moved up to light heavyweight, and now he's trying his hands at heavyweight. I'm saying this because if David Benavidez wins Saturday, if he wins Saturday, there is a massive case to be uttered, and I don't think anybody should actually have a conversation about it and disagree with it. If David Benavidez wins Saturday, he should be the face of boxing. He's the face of boxing. We haven't seen Canelo since he lost to Crawford. I think Shador, all that mercy. I think I think Shakur Stevenson deserves the same conversation. I know people that want to put Ryan Garcia in that conversation. I don't know why, but for me personally, it's David is David and it's Shakur Stevenson. That to me is my two. If we're talking about the faces of boxing, those are the two. Shakur Stevenson, David Benavidez. Those are my two. I don't think that people understand how great these two are. Shakur is a defensive assassin. Like the dude does not get touched. And he's standing in front of you and he does not get touched. That's fucking insane. Fucking insane. To be that goddamn talented and he don't get touched. That's insane. Dave Benavidez, since moving up to the light heavyweight division, has done nothing but dominated. After his first fight, which he had a hand injury, so I understood why he kind of was a little bit, not so, hit the dude so hard, friendly. He still won the fight by a good stretch, but I understand why he didn't, dominate that fight as we perceived he would when he has a hand injury. But ever since then, the David Morrell fight, the Yardy fight that he had, he's been quintessentially the best boxer in those fights, and he has dominated. These are fights that, by the way, Canelo Alvarez chose not to have, and he has dominated. If David Benavidez wins Saturday, there is a massive conversation, and I don't think it's really a massive conversation. I think it's a very simple conversation. Is David Benavidez and who else? That's how I look at it. Is David Benavidez and who else? Because then we had a conversation. For me, like I said, it's David Benavidez and Shakur Stevenson. Those are the two guys that are the faces of boxing. Those are the two guys that are the faces of boxing. And we can have a conversation all after the fact. But those are the two guys. And if Saturday happens the way the script has been going for Dave Benavidez, and he dominates, we're gonna have a different conversation about this dude. And like I said, it's not gonna be a very long conversation. It's gonna be a very simple. He's the face of boxing. Now, who shares that mantle with him? Like I said, I think it's Shakur Stevenson, but that's about it. Basketball. NBA playoffs are going on right now, and there is a very massive talking point that is bubbling and brewing as the first round is starting to wrap up for a lot of these teams. Tonight, the Thunder has already secured their spot in the second round. Being the number one seed in the West, they are officially secured their spot in the second round. Um, they await the Lakers or the Rockets. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's insane to think about it like that. But they do. They await the Lakers or the Rockets. Holy shit. Um, yeah. So yeah, the Lakers or the Rockets. They await one of them. And then there's a series that could be wrapped up tonight with the Spurs and the Trailblazers. And I want to say another series. I think it's the Celtics and the Sixers. Also tonight could be wrapped up. Um, yeah, I think the Celtics and the Sixers, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think the Celtics and the Sixers. Um, but the first round is basically about to be wrapped up, right? But there is a massive conversation that needs to be had, and one of those teams that I just spoke on was the Houston Rockets, and they have a particular player on their roster, a man by the name of Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's been getting some flack these last couple of games because he's either not played or he really hasn't provided the spark of scoring that the Rockets brought him in to actually fucking do. And he hasn't done it yet. And the Rockets, outside of Sunday night, I want to say Sunday night, was on the break of elimination. They're on the break of elimination next game too. It's not like they're, just won one game and now they're out of the fucking problems they're in. The Rockets are now going to Los Angeles, and there's no word yet on Kevin Durant's health status, if he plays or not. Kevin Durant legacy is cemented. He's one of the greatest scorers of all time. He will go down as one of the greatest scorers of all time. There is not one question on the planet that will not be uttered without having a conversation about how good Kevin Durant is as a basketball player. Kevin Durant is one of the greatest basketball players I've ever seen. From his days in Texas to when he played at Seattle, then to OKC, Kevin Durant is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But when we talk about Kevin Durant, we're going to talk about him differently. And I've said this numerous times. Him and LeBron are going to be the only two guys that we have in the conversation of the greatest basketball players of all time that we're going to have to start talking about a little differently, especially when they retire. When LeBron retires, that conversation is going to change, despite what LeBron fans hope, pray, and wish. And it's not going to be a good conversation. It's not. And Kevin Durant is another one. Kevin Durant is going to be talked about differently. And this NBA playoffs is showing you why he is going to get talked about differently. I've already said it. Kevin Durant, career-wise, you're going to look at Kevin Durant and say, man, he's one of the greatest to ever do it. But would you rather have Kevin Durant's career or Dirk Nowitzki's? Would you have Kevin Durant's career or Kevin Garnett's? Would you rather have Kevin Durant's career or Kawhi Leonard's? Because that's going to come up to the conversation too. It's not a diss to Kevin Durant to say that his legacy is cemented. But how we view him will be knocked down a peg. He will be knocked down as his career continues because of how he is handling situations like this. If you hurt, if you are injured, you are choosing to sit out. And I'm not saying playing would be a good idea, but when your team is down 3-1 and you were brought in to basically do the scoring in these types of situations and you ain't done shit. You've missed 2 of these 4 games and you haven't done shit in the other 2. We're going to talk about you differently, man. And that's just facts. KD's legacy is cemented. How we view him moving forward as one of the greatest basketball players of all time is going to take a hit significantly, despite what people want to fucking say. It's going to take a hit. It's going to take a fucking hit. He can be great. He is one of the greatest. But he will not have the same legacy as everybody thinks. By the time his career is over, he's gonna fall out of the conversation of the greatest to ever do it. One of the greatest, he is definitely one of the greatest, but he will never be in that conversation like we will sit there and talk about Steph Curry. Like we will sit there and talk about LeBron. Like we would talk about Michael Jordan, like we would talk about Kobe Bryant. He will never be in that conversation. He will never be in that conversation. And I think a lot of people just don't want to have that conversation just yet because it's coming. And we know it. It's coming. Get ready. Because it's coming. Another person who in this postseason has not really shown us what we have perceived him to be is the Joker, Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic, despite what happened against the Timberwolves, and I know people here already are saying if the Nuggets come back from 3-1, this is a great team. No, it's not. Because you didn't beat the Timberwolves at their best. If you lose to the Timberwolves next game in Minnesota, you lost to a team without their best player. If you come back and you beat the Timberwolves in game 6 and 7 and go into the next round against, let's say, the Spurs, you still beat a team without their best player. So either way that you slice and dice this shit, did the Denver Nuggets really actually beat the Timberwolves? Or did the Timberwolves just lose their best fucking player at the wrong fucking time? Because when Anthony Edwards was healthy, you couldn't stop him. There's not a player on that Denver Nuggets team defensively that can fucking stop Anthony Edwards. And that's facts. So did you beat the Timberwolves at their best? No, you did not. Because when they were at their best, and Anthony Edwards was healthy, they had you down 3-1 and it wasn't even fucking close. Which brings me into the conversation that a lot of people are starting to have. And I had this last year. I said this after they got knocked out the playoffs last year. The Joker is not one of the greatest centers of all time. We got to stop saying that shit. He is great offensively, but he's not one of the greatest centers of all time. Stop sitting there. Now, if they come back and win, they're going to try to put him back in that conversation. He is not in that conversation. All the centers I have seen in my life, he ain't nowhere near him. He can score. That is not the problem. But I think people give him, because we live in the moment. We live in the moment. The Joker is not greater than Shaq. The Joker ain't even great. Joker is not even Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan would beat the shit out of Nikola Jokic. Tim Duncan's bag is 10 times as good as Nikola Jokic. I took this dude out that conversation last year. I took the Joker out that greatest of all time conversation bullshit last fucking year. See, people forget this shit. I said this last year. I said, ain't no way in fucking hell you about to tell me a center got bodied by a backup point guard. That would never fucking happen to Shaq. That would never fucking happen to Tim Duncan. That would never happen to Hakeem Olajuwon. That would never fucking happen to Avani Divas. That would never happen to Alonzo Mourning. Are you fucking kidding me? You had a goddamn guard body you. That will never happen to Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett. That would Chris Webber, Rasheed Wallace. That would never happen. That would never fucking happen. You had a point guard, a backup, body you. Play, bro. The Joker had what? 6, 7, 8 inches on Alex Caruso? And he was letting this motherfucker just body him, bro. What the? That was the day. Excuse me. That was the day I said we can stop that conversation now. See, again, you forgetting this shit. I saw this shit. I saw him get bodied last year. All of us did. and you immediately try to make an excuse. No, fuck that. He's not in the conversation anymore. And I asked the question, and I wrote it down, and I said, who has hurt their career more in this playoffs, Kevin Durant or the Joker? The Joker, by a wide fucking margin. Because believe it or not, Kevin Durant has already proven that he cannot be the leader of your team. He's not the leader of a team. He is a bucket getter. That's what the fuck he is. He's a bucket getter. You tried it in Brooklyn. You've tried it in Phoenix. Now you tried it in Houston. You tried it in OKC. And the only time it worked incredibly for him was when he went to a team that already had the shit in place. And all you had to do was get 28 to 30 points a game because there was no problems because everybody knew Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were a fucking threat too. And we all knew it. It is official. We can put this shit to bed. Kevin Durant is not the guy. He will never be the guy. He's not a leader of a team. He's not the face of your he's the face of your franchise, but there is a very undertone of what a face of a franchise is. He's great, but he's never going to get you a championship. You need shit around him. If you was to put Kevin Durant in San Antonio right now, he would work. You put Kevin Durant in San Antonio, he'll work. You put Kevin Durant in Detroit, he'll work. You put Kevin Durant in Minnesota, he'll work. You put Kevin Durant in Milwaukee, it'll work. You know why? Because you're not asking him to do more than he already showing you that he can do. That is why it worked. You're asking him to go out there and get 20 or 30 points. Done. And that's exactly what we thought with Houston. But the problem with Houston is they don't have the number one guy. They don't have their number one guy. So that is why Kevin Durant is struggling in Houston. Because you're asking him to be the guy. And that's not what the fuck he is. He's a 2. He's a 2. He proved it to us when he was in Golden State. He's a 2. He's a 1 if you already got the 1. Because everybody's so goddamn predicated on stopping Steph Curry. So it's easy for Kevin Durant to get his shit off. Because I damn sure ain't about to let Steph Curry hit these motherfuckers. When you got too many weapons on a team, Kevin Durant's a fucking threat in the playoffs. But the person that hurt his career, has definitely hurt his career more, is the Joker. Because the Joker actually did something that Kevin Durant hasn't done. He's proven to everyone that he could lead a team to NBA Finals. He can be the guy. He can be the man. The problem is, here's where the problem kicks in. Even though he can be the man, he hasn't been it since they won the championship. And I actually question, is the Joker content with one ring? Because the way he looks and he plays sometimes, especially in the playoffs, is like he's content with knowing he's got a ring. I got 1. I'm good. You can't take me out the conversation. But that's a fucking lie because we can take you out the conversation. That's a fucking lie. Hakeem Olajuwon got 2. Shaq got 4. Tim Duncan got 5. David Robinson got 3. No, we got 2. When we start to have these conversations, Kevin Garnett got 1. Dirk Nowitzki got 1. We're not having different conversations, bro. If you ask me right now, Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, Dirk Nowitzki. Whose career would you rather have? I would take Dirk in a heartbeat. Dirk Nowitzki revolutionized the game. People will never understand that until you actually go. Either you had to live in that time period, or you actually are a actual genuine fan of basketball and you actually watch the shit and not just say shit just to get clicks. Dirk Nowitzki revolutionized the game. When people were starting to do that little hook, that little knee up fade shit, who the fuck do you think he got it from? They got it from Dirk. Dirk was the one. I prefer Dirk's career over the Joker and Kevin Durant. NBA playoffs. Let's keep it in the NBA playoffs, why don't we? Detroit. Oh, Detroit, Detroit, Detroit. What the fuck is happening right now? I did not expect Detroit to be this fucking bad in the playoffs. And I'm trying, for a couple of days now, I've been trying to make excuses for these fucking dudes. I ain't gonna lie. I've been trying to make excuses. I've been trying to come up with an excuse. I get that you lose game one, it catches you off guard. Orlando caught you off guard. I get that. You win game two, kind of dominant. So it's not like you didn't win game two dominant. You won game two, kind of dominant. But you got your ass whooped when you got to Orlando. Game three was close, and y'all couldn't pull it out. And I'm just sitting there, and this is why I say maybe Kevin Durant, if he's in Detroit, he might bring some energy towards that team because what Cade Cunningham can't do, Kevin Durant could. And listen, Houston fans, I won't be surprised by the next year. I hear motherfuckers talking about some Detroit might be trading for Kevin Durant. Won't be surprised. Cade Cunningham. I get Cade Cunningham got injured late in the season. I think he lacerated kidney or his kidney dropped. Something happened, and he got hurt. He got fucked up, and he missed a good stretch of games at the end of the season. And yeah, he missed a good stretch of games at the end of the season. But there's no reason for why this team sucks. Detroit has fell into this situation where the number one seed precedes them. It's like you only played to get the number one seed to prove to everybody that you were as good as you thought you were. And then the moment that you got it, you started to play actually in the playoffs. And maybe this is also a testament to Orlando. And Orlando really finally showing everybody that they were actually better than what the fuck they were actually supposed to be. Maybe Orlando also probably, and maybe this is the thing, maybe Orlando losing to Philly was probably the best thing for Orlando because now Orlando doesn't have to worry about the Boston Celtics and they play Detroit, who's been trying to get their shit together since Cade Cunningham came back, and they have not figured it out. I don't know what the fuck happened. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened. Orlando should not be dominating Detroit like they're dominating Detroit. This is insane. This is bad. And when you lose like this in a situation and when you lose like this, when you're the number one seed, you basically played your ass off to get the number one seed all season, and now you got the number one seed, and now you're literally on the brink of elimination. I don't know how you don't look at the team and say, I keep Cade Cunningham, I keep Doran, Jaden Doran, everybody else could get traded. Everybody else gets traded. I don't give a fuck who you are. You're getting traded. Because you don't lose like this. You don't get the number one seed. You don't dominate the East for a good stretch of time. get the number 1 seed, get in the playoffs, and then you immediately get your ass whipped by a team, by the way, that had to play their way into this. And maybe that's another thing. Maybe because Orlando actually has already been playing and they had to always survive, and it's literally survive in advance for them, that when they got into the series against Detroit, who was trying to get their legs back under them with Cade Cunningham and all these other people, maybe that's why Detroit has not been able to successfully capitalize. But this is embarrassing. And there is a conversation that will be had at the end of this season if Detroit does not come back. Because Orlando, if they beat Detroit, I don't think they're going to beat them in Game 5 because it's going to be in Detroit. But they beat them in Game 6. We're having a different conversation. We're having a way different conversation, and it's not even close. I talked about the Rockets. The 76ers play against the Celtics tonight. That series is over. Going back to Boston, that series is over. And Philly's another team that I feel like is going to have some hard conversations during this offseason. And the one conversation that's going to immediately kick in is it time to finally trade Joel Embiid? We have tried with you. We've given you time after time. We've literally set you down for the first 2 years of your career. It's time to have a conversation about what do we do with you. I can see Philly trading Joel Embiid during the offseason. What's the point of keeping him? There's nothing to keep. There's nothing to keep. Joel Embiid is still somewhat a viable piece because of the name value and what he does bring to the table when he's healthy. So I can easily see Philly saying, we got VJ, we got Tyrese Maxey. If we trade Joel Embiid, and let's say trade him, shit, I don't know who you can trade him to at this moment. Fuck, I don't even know who you trade. Trade him to Memphis. Trade him to Memphis. Trade him to Memphis. Trade him to Memphis. And let's see what happens. Trade him to Memphis and let's see what happens. What you get back is Zach Edey. I'm trying to see what Memphis got on that team. I haven't seen Memphis roster in a minute. Not Ja Morant. Him and Ja could be a team together. But trade him to Memphis. Trade him to Memphis. Trade him to trying to every team. Trade Joel Embiid to Memphis. Trade him. I would say Utah, but I think Utah's got something. I wouldn't trade him to Utah. Brooklyn. Get Nicholas Claxton. I know that's not a lot, but you get something in return. A center that can actually help Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe better than Joel Embiid can at this moment. And a rim protector and an alley ooper. Why not? That's what I would do. I trade his ass to Brooklyn. Get yeah, I'll trade him to Brooklyn. I'll trade him to Brooklyn. I'm about to say get Cam Thomas, but Cam Thomas is in Milwaukee. So yeah, get Nicholas Claxton. Yeah. I'll trade that to Brooklyn. Couple of picks, we good. I would trade Joel Embiid during his offseason. I've seen enough. It's been damn near 10 years. And he has yet to show us why we're keeping him. You're never healthy. The older you get, the more brittle you get. The older you get, the more brittle you get. Why am I keeping you? Why am I keeping you? If Philly lose tonight, Joel Embiid is the first person on the trading block during the offseason. Um, do I think Cleveland and the Knicks are in trouble? I've said this numerous times. I don't care where it's at or where it's been. I've said this numerous fucking times. Cleveland, Cleveland, and New York are the two teams I said coming into the playoffs. They are the most interesting two teams because if they do not succeed this year in the playoffs, at least get to the NBA Finals, those are the two teams I'm blowing up. I've tried. They already traded Darius Garland, so Cleveland understood. Like we need to move on. If they don't get to an NBA Finals, one of these teams, I'm blowing this shit up. I don't give a fuck. I'm blowing it up. The Knicks, the Knicks, the Knicks cannot afford. The Knicks cannot afford to go through this another season with Joel Embiid, Karl Anthony Towns, and Jalen Brunson. You need to figure out which is which. You want them to be your 1-2 punch, cool. But now you actually have to build a team. And this is why when you let OG Anunoby go and you brought in Mikal Bridges, it made sense. It's like, okay, that's makes sense. But then you went back and got OG Anunoby. And we're sitting there like, why the fuck did you do that? This is why this situation didn't make sense. Because you had two players playing the same fucking position, do the same shit. And they're not particularly loyal, they're not particularly great scorers in certain situations. So it was just stupid to bring back OG Anunoby and also trade for Mikal Bridges. It just didn't make sense. And it makes sense. It didn't make sense. I didn't understand that. I truly did not understand why they would do that. It's to the point where the Knicks are gonna have to blow this shit up. If they do not get out the first round, there is a real conversation to be had about OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges and what the Knicks' future is. Same thing with Cleveland. Same thing with Cleveland. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Donovan Mitchell, now James Harden. If you do not get out the first round, or at least get to the NBA Finals with this team, there's a conversation that needs to be uttered. And that is, okay, we tried. We're Donovan. Maybe it's time to trade him. James Harden, we don't really have ties to him. There's no ties to James Harden. We can let him walk. I'm not against letting James Harden walk. Evan Mobley is great. He's a piece that we can keep to build for the future. But there needs to be a talk of the future. Keeping people there just to keep them there, just so you can sit there and say, well, we were contenders and not contend for shit is insane. We're contenders and not contend for shit. That's insane. That's insane. NFL. NFL. Man, the NFL draft was weird as fuck. Let's get that out the way. The NFL draft was weird as fuck. I don't care what nobody say. That was a weird ass fucking draft. Anybody that sits there and tries to pretend like that was a weird fucking draft. And it became weird right after the second pick. Like the first two picks was kind of obvious. Like Fernando Mendoza and David Bailey. Like I picked Fernando and David Bailey to go 1 and 2. I wasn't too out of shape about that. But then the third pick came up and the Cardinals went Jeremiah Love. And you're just sitting there like, what the fuck are you doing? I know people that's sitting there and saying, well, that was a good pick. No, the fuck it wasn't. What about that pick was good? Again, you're looking at the upside, and Jeremiah Love is a great addition if you already have the shit to make the team work. Now I know people are gonna say, what about Ashton Jeanty last year? Ashton Jeanty went to the Raiders and they didn't have shit. Here's the difference. The Raiders actually had an offensive line. The Raiders actually had Brock Bowers. The Raiders actually had shit that can make their fucking running back go. And once they figured out the offensive line combination, Ashton Jeanty had one of the best innings of a rookie season that you could have asked for. The Cardinals have none of that. The Cardinals have Marvin Harrison Jr., better than any receiver on the Raiders side. They got Trey McBride, a really great tight end, probably the best tight end in the league. But after that, what the fuck do they have? They don't have a quarterback. They don't have an offensive line. And now you're asking this goddamn kid to come in and basically try, keyword, try to make that fucking team stand out. This is bad. Could the Cardinals turn it around and be a good team this year? Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Do I trust them? Fuck no. I do not trust them. I don't. Problem is when pick 3 happened, it felt like the entire draft just went left. I don't know what the fuck happened. Jeremiah Love got picked 3rd, and then everybody just started picking shit at random. Like it was just like even though we don't need this person, let's just trade him because he's the best player on the board. No, nigga, that's not why you should take this person just because he's the best player on the board. That's stupid. The one notion about people that always get me pissed off, especially with the NFL draft, is that when the best player is on the board, you take them no matter what, regardless of position or what you need. You take the best player on the board. You see, 1 and 2, maybe. 1 and 2, one definitely. If you are a franchise that already have a quarterback, but you don't have really the depth pieces to help him, and you believe this is your franchise quarterback, and if you still are picking at 1, then you take the necessary piece. You take the best player off the board. Maybe even 2, right? Maybe even 2. But once you get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no, nigga, you do not take the best player off the board. You don't just take the best player off the board. That's stupid. You take what the fuck you actually need. You take what the fuck you actually need. That's stupid. What they did, and here's the thing. I'm going to say something that might piss some people off. I don't give a fuck. I like Cornell Tate going to Tennessee. I like it. I think it's actually a good fucking pick. Cam Ward needs a receiver. We all know he needs a receiver. We keep sitting here and acting like Cam Ward didn't need a fucking receiver last year. And now they got a receiver, and everybody's like, I hate this pick. And this is why I don't like what people are saying, because that sounds bullshit to me. Because if Cornell Tate fell to the 5th pick, which was the next pick after him, if Cornell Tate fell to the 5th pick, which was the Giants, people would have been kissing the Giants' ass and telling everybody Cornell Tate was the best player in the draft. He was the best goddamn available. This is what they should have done. This is the best thing. I know how you niggas operate in sports media. If Cornell Tate fell to 5th and he got taken by the Giants, you niggas would have lost your shit. You would have called John Harbaugh the greatest head coach of all time and all this goofy shit because he took Cornell Tate. Did he need him? Not really, but he took him. So now why is this the I don't like this pick shit? I don't like this pick for Tennessee. Why? Why? Why you don't like this pick for Tennessee? Why? Oh, well, Cornell Tate too small, and I don't see him as a number 1. What? Shit's insane. That shit's insane. That shit is insane. That people will sit there with a straight face on fucking NFL Countdown, NFL Live, Fox Sports 1, all this shit, and sit there and flat out lie. Because if the motherfucker went to the 5th pick to the Giants, you niggas would have loved it. Y'all would have been kissing their ass, telling them the Giants got the best player in the draft. Oh my God, look at what he's gonna do with that offense. But he went to Tennessee, and now everybody's got a goddamn up in arms. Now everybody's, Tennessee don't know what the fuck they're doing. Really? You acting like Cornell Tate was not in the top 3 receivers of the fucking draft. Now you niggas sitting there trying to act like, he was the 3rd best receiver. Really? Because for the good stretch of time, this nigga was the number 1 receiver. Now he goes to Tennessee, and I don't see it. I don't understand why they would do it. Fucking people, boy. Fucking people, dude. It's insane to me. It's insane. It's insane. Speaking of the 5th pick, the Giants fucked their shit up, and I'll talk about them in a minute. That was a terrible fucking. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. They're one of those teams that picked the best player on the board, not what the fuck you actually needed. You picked the best player on the board, and that to me is what kills a lot of teams. You're picking a guy just because they're the best player, not that you need them, not because they fit, but you're picking them because they're the best player on the board. That's stupid. Like I said, I'll talk about the Giants in a minute. San Francisco. Can we have this conversation now? I mean this. Let's have this conversation. John Lynch don't know shit. He has hit on 3 players. One he never drafted, which was Christian McCaffrey. The other 2, Nick Bosa and Brock Purdy, who literally was the last fucking pick. So I asked the question, what the fuck has he done? John Lynch has reached for more players at a time period where there's no need to do it. You went receiver. That's not the problem. You went receiver with your 1st pick of the draft. That's not the problem. You picked a nigga that nobody was talking about. with the first pick of your draft. I can understand you picked this motherfucker third round, fourth round, fifth round. Okay, then for okay, okay. The first fucking pick, which is an extension of the first round, the first fucking pick, you picked a guy that nobody was talking about. Denzel Boston was on the board if you're gonna take a receiver. You realize that? Denzel Boston was on the fucking board. This nigga picked a receiver that nobody was fucking talking about. What the fuck are you doing? Bro, this shit felt like the Ricky Parcells deal. Like, when I remember being in Vegas when Ricky Parcell got drafted, and me and my brother Juan looked at each other, it was like, who the fuck did they just take? It felt like that. You don't want people to sit there and say, who the fuck did you say? That shit should not happen in your draft. You took a kid that was the 15th best ranked receiver in the draft with the 33rd pick. That's technically a first round pick. You took a first round pick, technically a first round pick on a receiver that even the expert said is probably at best a late third, fourth rounder, depending on if the receivers get moved quicker. At best, third, fourth. That's insane. That's insane. San Francisco, and I've said this numerous times, we need to have a different conversation about John Lynch. And here's the thing that people continuously scream about. They always want to scream this shit. Everybody wants to scream. Well, they're winning, Brandon. Really, they're winning? When's the last time they won a Super Bowl? When's the last time San Francisco won a Super Bowl? Oh, 1994. $1994. That's the last time the San Francisco 49ers raised a Lombardi trophy. I have said this numerous times. The San Francisco 49ers are nothing more than a better, glorified, I wouldn't even say better, just a little bit well-adjusted Dallas Cowboys. That's all the fuck they are. The 49ers are the Cowboys. They're the Cowboys. The Cowboys actually won a Super Bowl a year later in 95. That was the last time they won a Super Bowl. Well, Brian, San Francisco at least gets to a Super Bowl. Motherfucker, do they win it? Go fuck if you get there. Do you win it? Yeah. Yeah, San Francisco's draft fucking sucked. And you're starting to now see you're starting to see the actual problems of the 49ers as these years progress. If Christian McCaffrey's not there and he's not healthy, if Trent Williams is not there and he's not healthy, if George Kittle's not there and he's not healthy, if no, and now here's the thing: no Nick Bosa, you had no Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. The reason why you got to the fucking playoffs and got to the playoffs is because of how great Robert Saleh is at calling fucking defense. Oh yeah, last time I checked, he's in Tennessee as the head coach. That's gone. We need to start having a conversation about John Lynch, bro. It needs to happen. It needs to be done. It needs to be a true, actual, real conversation about this man. Because I don't think people really truly want to have it, but we're gonna have to have it. John Lynch don't know what the fuck he's doing. John Lynch don't know what the fuck he's doing. There's too many times where he's had to evaluate talent and he has completely and utterly fumbled the fucking ball on it. This ain't the first draft where the 49ers, you sitting after the draft and sitting there like, what the fuck did they just draft? This is not the first time. They've been lucky enough to be just good enough to get out of the conversation. But let's not pretend like the 49ers have not had some down years also these last couple of years. So let's not pretend. Let's keep it a beam. If Christian McCaffrey go down, if Trent Williams go down, this fucking team is going to suck. And we all know it. We all know it. Los Angeles Rams. Oh, nigga, you ain't exempt. Bring your ass down here, too. We about to talk. You see, here's the thing. Everybody has flat out said that the Los Angeles Rams have a Super Bowl contender, right? Los Angeles Rams have a Super Bowl contender. The Los Angeles Rams are a Super Bowl contender. Everybody knows it, right? You had no secondary help. Your cornerbacks struggled a lot late last year. So what did you do? You traded Kansas City. You got Trent McDuffie. You also signed his other partner in crime in that secondary, Justin Watson, and you brought him in as well. So you basically are trying to redo what Kansas City did with that team for the last couple of years. Your front four is good. Front seven is pretty decent with the Rams, right? That offense, we still don't know what the hell's going on with Puka Nacua, but Puka Nacua should be there when that season starts. You still got Kyron Williams. You still got Blake Corum. You got Matthew Stafford. You got the tight end you drafted last year. Still got Devontae Adams. So everybody has assumed you guys are going to a Super Bowl. This is the best team. They haven't really lost shit. This is a really good team still. The Rams, if you put it on paper right now, the Rams have the best roster in the NFL, right? Right? Rams have the best roster in the NFL. Everybody can agree. Rams have the best roster in the NFL. It's kind of obvious. You got a Super Bowl MVP. I mean, NFL MVP. I keep saying Super Bowl. NFL MVP in Matthew Stafford from literally last year. You have a NFL MVP last year in Matthew Stafford, who's coming back. You have one of the best receivers in the game in Puka Nacua. Like I said, despite what was going on in his personal life, he is one of the best receivers in the NFL. And you got a great two. Still could be a one if he's healthy in Devontae Adams. With that being said, the Rams might have came into this draft telling themselves everything I just said. We got this, we got that, we got this, got that. What do we need? What do we actually need? And Les Snead, the GM of the Rams, probably looked at his board and said, we got this, we got that. We got that, we got this. We don't really need anything. So how about we start thinking about the future? Let's take Ty Simpson. People in the room probably called him crazy. Say he was delusional. Why the fuck would you drive a quarterback when we literally just had a MVP quarterback? An MVP as a quarterback. Why would we draft a quarterback? That's fucking stupid. Especially in the first fucking round. It's not like it's a late round pick. It is literally top 15. We know when you take a quarterback in the top 10, 15 picks, your team is either struggling and that quarterback will make somewhat of a difference. He may play this season at some point. There's a lot of things that go into drafting a quarterback in the first round of a draft, especially in the top 15 of picks. And Les Snead saw that and said, let's build for the future. Let's go with Ty Simpson. Under Sean McVay's tutelage, he will be given a start that a lot of people won't be. He can become our Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying that. I'm speaking for Les Snead at this moment. Les Snead is thinking, look at what happened with Patrick Mahomes. Look at what happened with Jordan Love. You set him for a year or 3, and he came out and he was firing on all fucking cylinders. Maybe he can be that for us. We're not in the need to play him, but to have him. And maybe one day we could flip him. If Matthew Stafford's healthy and Matthew Stafford wants to play 2 more years, we could flip Ty Simpson. Because there's a lot of teams in the near future that will start thinking about teams like Pittsburgh that is struggling to get a quarterback right now. Minnesota, who right now has 2, and in 2 years probably won't have any quarterback. Atlanta, who has 2 quarterbacks that let's see how that plays out. Miami in a couple of years. The Jets always are looking for a fucking quarterback. Next year's draft, even though it's going to be a high premium of quarterbacks, so we assume, but like I've been said, because a lot of these quarterbacks nowadays don't have to come out of college and get paid because they're getting paid in college. That let's run to the NFL shit. Why the fuck I got to run to the NFL? Let me go get this money from college, and I'll wait for the NFL when a team that I actually want to go to is actually in the draft that I can actually go to. If it's, let's say, if it's Arch Manning and you want to go to the Falcons or something, or he wants to go to, the Colts, like his uncle, or the Giants. Why not? Like, why not? So Ty Simpson isn't just a piece at this moment that a lot of people are not really paying attention to. He can be flipped maybe in a year, maybe 2 years. Because again, like I said, we don't know if these quarterbacks are coming out next year. We have no clue. We thought a lot of quarterbacks are coming out this past draft. Look at what the fuck we ended up with. Here's where the problem kicks in. What I had did that, if I was Les Snead, fuck no. Fuck no. I would have never drafted Ty Simpson 13 overall. I don't give a fuck what you think. One reason is because I don't think Ty Simpson is that type of quarterback. I think if any quarterback had to sit on a bench in college, if any quarterback had to sit on a bench in college for 3 out of the 4 years that he was in a program, I don't think you good, bro. Nick Saban, who is one of the greatest college coaches of all time, Nick Saban brought this kid in, had him there, looked at him, and said, Jalen Monroe's our guy. Jalen Monroe couldn't even throw the ball like that. He was just a runner. And he said, I'd rather play Jalen Monroe over Ty Simpson. You would think that would be an indication of a fucking massive problem. You would think there'd be a problem. But instead, people sat here and lied. It was like, oh, Ty Simpson's ready. Ty Simpson's ready. He's not. He's not ready. There is no need to develop a quarterback that's been developing for the last 3 out of the 4 years he's been in college. There's no need for that. So if you are drafting this fucking kid and you're sitting there thinking he's the future of our team, nigga, you delusional. I don't give a fuck if he's under Matthew Stafford's tree for 3 fucking years. He ain't ready. And there's not enough fucking prep in the game in the world that could tell me that Ty Simpson at some point is going to be ready. I don't understand the pick. And it's not crazy. My brother Juan picked Ty Simpson to go 13th overall. As crazy as it sounds, I picked Ty Simpson to go 3rd overall. Reason why I picked him to go 3rd overall is because I felt like the Cardinals, despite drafting him 3rd overall, was never going to have to be committed to him. You can have a shitty year, draft the actual quarterback you want next year, and flip his ass next year. I never saw Ty Simpson as the next big starter. That's not what the fuck you drafted him for. If you could not even get a starting job in Alabama when Nick Saban was there, what makes me think the only reason why you were a starting quarterback in Alabama this year is because Kellen DeBoer just fell fucking lost all the players, and you stayed. People forget Ty Simpson was supposed to go into the transfer portal, and he stayed because he knew he could be a starter. So now I'm supposed to sit here. And lie. I would not have drafted him 13th overall. That's fucking stupid. You drafted a backup for 2 years. Hopefully, for 2 years. I would not draft him 13th overall. That's fucking stupid. If you drafted him later on in the draft, all right then. That's low premium, high reward. Drafting him in the first round with your first pick in the 13th overall pick in the top 15 when you already have an MVP caliber quarterback and you are now trying to make excuses for why you did it is insane to me. The fact that Sean McVay tried his hardest to clean up what the fuck had happened. You know what the fuck that felt like? That felt like the Atlanta Falcons GM drafted Michael Penix after signing Kirk Cousins. That's what the fuck it felt like. That's what the fuck it felt like. It looked and felt like the Falcons drafted Michael Penix went right after they signed Kirk Cousins. And I need people to stop telling this. And this is the dumbest shit I always hear. Especially when teams try to say this stupid ass shit, try to justify a dumb ass pick. Well, we drafted him because in 2 or 3 years, if everything goes right, he's going to be our starter. You drafted a nigga 13th overall and you want to sit him for 2 years? A team, by the way, that we are screaming can go to. We're screaming and go to the Super Bowl. What I would have done if I was 13th overall and I was the Rams, I would have drafted Malachi Lemon. I would have drafted a kid from Oregon, the tight end. I would have done so many other things. I would have drafted Caleb Lomo from Utah, who went to the Patriots at the end of the first round. There are so many fucking things I would have done. There's no way in hell I'm drafted. I would have drafted the kid from Oregon, the safety. There were so many other things I would have done. Like, I like Justin Watson, but Justin Watson is not that fucking guy. I've seen him play enough to know, nigga, you could get burned. Trent McDuffie's great, but he ain't a one, and we've seen it already. When they took L'Jarius Sneed out of Kansas City and made Trent McDuffie his number one corner, right? You saw it. Trent McDuffie cannot be a number one. So now you traded and got him here. And if he can't play up to what the fuck you think he can, you're fucked. And you wasted a first round pick. New York Giants. Told you I get to them. The Giants ended up getting a 10th pick overall. This was supposed to be Cincinnati, but they got a 10th pick overall after trading Dexter Lawrence, defensive tackle, to Cincinnati, and they got the 10th pick overall. They had the 5th pick overall, and with the 5th pick overall, they took Alvaro Reese, linebacker from Ohio State. Okay, and with the 10th pick overall, they took Francis Mogano, offensive lineman for Miami. Okay, okay. Here's the thing: the Giants. I fucking hate those 2 picks. I'm trying to be generous here. I fucking hate those 2 picks. What the fuck? Literally, what the fuck do you get out of drafting Alvaro Reese with the 5th pick overall? Now reports are coming out you wanted a second round of a Kayvon Thibodeau. Makes sense since you drafted him in the first round. The problem is his production does not match what you wanted. And because you don't want to trade him, you got now 4 fucking players in the damn linebacker room. Not to mention, you still got McFadden, who you have. You still got other fucking linebackers. And now you bring in Alvaro Reese, who, yes, great prospect, an incredible talent, but you didn't bring him in. You brought him in to what? Be a off the ball linebacker? This is why this is a stupid fucking deal. This is why this is a dumbass pick. Because you just drafted a dual Carter last fucking year. You drafted a dual Carter last fucking year. Why would you draft exactly the same fucking player? The difference is a dual Carter can't play yet cover. That's it. That's the only thing that he can't fucking do. He can't cover. What the fuck are you doing? I'm trying the hardest to understand this decision and this pick, and I've been sitting here for a week, and I've been trying to understand why they thought that was a good idea. Oh, Brandon, but he fell to them. You don't take a player just because they fail to you. That's fucking stupid. You drafted Alvaro Reese after taking a dual Carter last year. You paid Brian Burns, and you what the? I know people that will sit here and lie. NFL media is the dumbest fucking media outside of maybe hip hop media that I've seen in a very long time. Because you just want John Harbaugh to be great so you can sit there and blame Lamar Jackson for why Baltimore could never get to a Super Bowl. Like I'm fucking stupid. You want John Harbaugh to succeed so y'all can sit there and say, see, it was never John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh wasn't a problem. It was Lamar Jackson. Like we're stupid. This draft showed you exactly what the fuck John Harbaugh is. He don't know what the fuck he's doing. You drafted a linebacker, and now here's the thing: you didn't take on a dual Carter, but the general manager did. You didn't. This is how stupid this shit is. So you re-signed Jeremiah Allendor. You re-signed him, but you still took an offensive lineman. What the fuck are you doing? It's just like, what are you doing? People in the NFL media is gonna glaze this shit and make it sound like it's the greatest thing on the planet. Oh my God, they got this and they got that. Bruh, this fucking draft fucking sucked. They didn't get shit they actually fucking needed. They needed a number two. Where's the number two receiver for Malik Neighbors? Because when Malik went down, you had no one. Where's the number two receiver? Where's your backup running back? Because when Cam Scottaboo went down, you had no running back. Where's the safety? Where's these fucking players, bro? The fact of the matter is, people want to sit here and give the Giants credit because, again, like I just said, you only want to give the Giants credit so you can sit there and say, if John Harbaugh succeeds, you can sit there and say, see, it was never his problem. It was always Lamar Jackson. But if the Giants fucking suck, I want to know what the goddamn conversation gonna be. Oh, it's not John Harbaugh. It's the general manager. NFL media, ladies and gentlemen. What the fuck do you want me to tell you? Yeah, fucking drops weird. Anyway, that's it. That's it. That's it. Um, Next week I'll be back. Talk about the fight. Talk about the playoffs. Talk about football. Basically everything going on. Ah, yeah. Till next time, I am Brandon Janeau. This is I Believe Sports. Peace.